A countdown is ticking right now over the Middle East, driven by the most severe military threat issued by a sitting U.S. president. Donald Trump stated plainly that unless his demands are met, a whole civilization will die tonight. The ultimatum comes with a strict condition. Iran has until exactly 8 p.m. Eastern Time to finalize a deal and yield to U.S. demands. If the clock hits zero without an agreement, the United States will launch catastrophic strikes across the country. In previous weeks, Trump issued 48-hour warnings and rolling extensions regarding Iranian targets. Those delays are over. The language used today abandons earlier diplomatic maneuvering entirely. By drawing a hard line at 8 p.m. and explicitly threatening mass casualties, political posturing has been replaced by a live fuse. The region is now hours away from potential total war. This map shows exactly what triggered the crisis. The Strait of Hormuz is the primary artery for global energy exports. Before the conflict, 100 commercial ships transited daily. Now, traffic has dropped to a fraction, strangling trade and spiking oil prices. In response, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance confirmed the administration's counter-strategy today. He noted the United States is holding powerful economic tools in reserve, fully prepared to inflict severe financial pain to force the strait open. The blockade has elevated a regional shipping lane into the geopolitical tripwire of the conflict. The United States is willing to use maximum force to clear it. And we already know this isn't a bluff. The military campaign has begun before the deadline has even expired. U.S. forces carried out overnight strikes on military targets at Karg Island. This island houses the terminal responsible for almost all of Iran's oil exports. Attacking it directly threatens the regime's economic lifeline. While the U.S. hits offshore targets, Israel, under Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, has pushed the offensive deep into the Iranian mainland. Israeli forces systematically destroyed 8 bridge segments and railway lines. These strikes hit crucial transit hubs in cities like Kashan and Tehran, directly crippling the logistical networks used by the Iranian Revolutionary Guards. By taking out railways and oil defenses early, Allied forces are demonstrating exactly how they will dismantle Iran's infrastructure. It is a live preview of the complete demolition promised if the 8 p.m. deadline passes. Rather than backing down, Iran has retaliated. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps launched a wave of drones and missiles into Saudi Arabia, setting a major petrochemical complex on fire. As missiles cross borders, international diplomacy has hit a wall. The United Nations Security Council met to negotiate a defense of the strait, but the sessions collapsed into gridlock. This document graphic shows the evolution of the UN resolution. Initially, it invoked Chapter 7, a specific clause that authorizes international military force. But to appease opposing nations, explicit military backing was removed, replaced by language encouraging defensive efforts. Even without military teeth, the resolution failed. Russia and China vetoed the draft, stripping away any UN mandate to secure the waterway. The UN is paralyzed. The diplomatic channels are officially exhausted, leaving nothing between the two militaries but the ticking clock. As the clock runs down, the specific wording of the president's threat is drawing intense scrutiny from international legal scholars. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres issued a sharp warning, stating plainly that there is no military objective that justifies the wholesale destruction of civilian populations or civil infrastructure. This breakdown of the 1948 Convention on Genocide shows why the language is so heavily scrutinized. Under international law, a crime requires the intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national group. Legal advisors note that threatening an entire civilization maps directly onto this definition. If the U.S. military executes a campaign targeting Iranian society at large, it crosses the boundary of conventional warfare and discards the international legal norms established after 1945. All legal debates will become irrelevant if an agreement isn't reached by 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The crisis can still end at the negotiating table. The Iranian leadership could yield to the pressure, reopen the Strait of Hormuz, and protect their cities from the incoming barrage. But if they hold their ground, the deadline will expire. The U.S. and Israel are already in position to expand their strikes from offshore terminals and bridges to the broader demolition of Iranian infrastructure. The 8 p.m. deadline represents the final break in the negotiation process. The world is now waiting to see if the Iranian leadership yields, or if the localized strikes on bridges and oil terminals expand into a total military campaign.